In this episode, I am dangerously up the creek.
So I think I'll just shoot one last frame and call it quits because this is terrible.
Hypothermia stage 2.
I've got this lovely little rim. Sorry, Mum. It looks like the jaws of a shark. Pretty much impaled myself right up the clay pipe. I'm not kidding. I am in the most uncomfortable, precarious position. Oh, this is cold. This is terrible. Oh, that's sharp now. I question my own sanity. Why do I do this? Oh, God. I think only an absolute idiot would get in there and do that. And I just can't function now. I've become incompetent. Please like and subscribe. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I do this.
Nothing beats waking up in a Canadian log cabin in a snow-covered forest.
I don't actually live there. When I was a kid, I would have been so excited about getting a snow day like this. I would have just gone sledging, found the steepest hill I could find and just go sledging. But now that I'm a middle-aged old fart, I get excited about frozen waterfalls and taking pictures. But back when I was a kid, I remember me and my brother, we didn't even have a sledge, a proper sledge, or what Americans would call a sled. And so we used black bin bags. And man, you could get a right rapid speed on a black bin bag. Mind you, my mother wasn't too impressed when we returned home and presented her with these shredded bin bags. Sorry, Mum.
Believe it or not, we don't get that much snow here on the west coast of Canada, so when we do, I tend to drop everything and make the most of it while I can, because landscape photography opportunities like this, well, they don't tend to last very long.
That's quite fantastic. Let's set up a shot. So this is Little Qualicum Falls near Coombs on Vancouver Island, and I'll be honest, this has been a challenge to photograph. This waterfall, as beautiful as it is, it's really quite difficult to photograph, and that is because the surrounding area of the waterfall is very, very complicated. So what I tend to do when I shoot this waterfall is I tend to zoom in fairly tight and try and exclude a lot of the surrounding area, because you've got these fairly ugly fences which are necessary because they keep people from falling off the cliffs. But I don't really want those ugly fences in the shot, so you have to try and kind of zoom in and exclude the ugly and fill the frame with what's pretty. The problem that I have today though is that there are two massive logs trapped in that first bowl where the first waterfall drops down and carves out this bowl, and it just slashes right across the composition. It's not a good look, and I was hoping for a bit more ice. So if I go around here, you'll see just over there on that side of the bowl, well, hopefully you can see, I don't know if you can see on this, but there's quite a bit of ice hanging down, but I kind of hope there'd be quite a bit more. I've been coming here for the last few days, checking on the levels, and the temperature's been getting colder and colder, so I had this hope, this expectation that the ice would be a bit more prevalent, but it's actually quite sparse. So it's a tricky one. Even if I frame up a composition that I like, there's nothing I can do about these bloody ugly logs that are in the way. So I don't know if I'm going to get a shot. I mean, I'll take a shot, but I very much doubt it's going to be a killer. I think I'll have to move on to a different location, perhaps somewhere that's a bit cleaner without all of this clutter, and maybe move on to a location that's got more ice, because that's really what I'm after today. I love the snow and it's really pretty. I want to try and get some lovely snow shots, but I'm all about those ice chandeliers. Okay, so let me show you this composition. And what I usually love about this bowl that you can see here is on a bright day, the center of the bowl kind of has this lovely green sort of aquamarine glow that really pops. You can just see a little bit of it in the waterfall there and in the bowl itself. But on a day like today, of course, that's quite a muted look. But anyway, what I've tried to do is zoom beyond the ugly fence. There's just a little bit of it there in the frame, but I'm thinking this is going to end up being cropped to either a 4x2 or a 16x9. So why do I want to shoot either a 16x9 or a 4x2? Well, one thing that I love to do with my waterfall compositions, let me just kind of explain it a little bit better, is with this camera now, you can probably just see, you can see where the waterfall begins, and if I go like this, you can see where the waterfall ends. So you can see where it's coming from, you can see where it's going. When I shoot pictures of waterfalls, I'd much rather give you a sort of element of curiosity and spark your imagination, make you wonder, where is it coming from, where is it going to? So often I'll cut off the top and the bottom of the waterfall just because it gives you a little bit of room to imagine for yourself, where's it coming from and where's it going to?
One thing I've learned about landscape photography and about life in general is that nothing stays the same for long. Beauty is fleeting, perfection isn't permanent, and you really have to make the most of what you've got while you've got it. So much of landscape photography and life is about seizing the day and enjoying what life has to offer during this short window of opportunity. And so with that in mind, I decided to move on to a different forest that required a bit more effort.
So it's about an hour since I left Little Qualicum Falls, and where I've come to now is a spot called Nile Creek, and my hope, I really do hope, that I'm going to either get some magnifique ice crystals down the sides of these canyon walls where there's this really beautiful waterfall, or there's this smaller waterfall that's not quite as dramatic, but it has this lovely glowing green pool in front of the waterfall. And I shot this back in the spring. That would be gorgeous if it was surrounded by deep snow with this lovely green glowing pool. And I'm clearly the first human being to come through here today, because the only footprints that I've seen in the snow belong to cute little rabbits. Let's just hope I don't see cougar prints. That would be sketchy. Or bear paw prints.
In all my years of hiking around Vancouver Island, I have never once seen a cougar. They've no doubt seen me, but I suspect they prefer more tender meat than walking Yorkshire pudding. After about 45 minutes of hiking, I finally arrived at the first photo shoot location, only to discover that things have changed since my last visit, and not necessarily for the better.
Well, that is a total disaster. So this is my waterfall, and the lovely green pool that I was telling you about is right there, full of dead trees that have just fallen down off that bank. So not only can I not get a shot of the waterfall at all, really, unless I get right in that pool, taties deep, probably chest deep, which I'm not going to do. I can't even get a shot with this pool or any foreground. It's just destroyed. I'm rather upset. I mean, it just goes to show, like, nothing stays the same for long, does it? Like, you give it 10 months and something could be completely destroyed. So you really can't just take these things for granted. You've got to shoot them while you can. And luckily I did get some nice shots of this last year. But so what I'll do is just abandon this altogether, head further up the creek, about another hour of slogging through the snow, in the hopes that nothing terrible has happened in my last chance at getting a tremendous shot. I mean, if I get all the way up there and it's complete trash, I won't be very happy. I won't.
Well, that was very disappointing, but I wasn't ready to accept defeat just yet, because in weather conditions like these, some changes can make seemingly boring subjects temporarily spectacular, and it didn't take long for something to catch my eye.
So as I was just hiking up the trail, which runs alongside the river, I just spotted these amazing icicles. Just look at this lot. So beautiful. The entire log, from beginning to end, is just covered in these beautiful icicles. So I might try and get a shot of that. And I think the bit that interests me the most, I don't know if you can see it here, but it's this cluster of icicles here with this bit of river in the foreground and then that little rim of ice there. So if I could frame something up, perhaps where you can just see a part of the log, that might actually be worth the hike up here. That in itself might be the shot of the day. So yeah, I'll give it a go and let's see what I can frame up. Right, so I framed up a shot. I'm in quite a precarious position and I've got my tripod, well, two legs of the tripod are in the river and it's tight quarters to say the least, especially since I appear to have eaten football and chips for lunch. It's not good. Anyway, so I framed up this shot and what I'm trying to get is a three-stage shot where I have the icicles dropping down and then I have the creek just running through the center of the frame, and then in the very foreground there I've got this lovely little rim of ice in the foreground. So it's like 1, 2, 3. And the one thing that strikes me when I look at it through the viewfinder is it kind of looks like the jaws of a shark. So let me get the other camera on the back of this and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I'm going to attempt I am in the most uncomfortable, precarious position ever, but I'm going to attempt to explain how I'm going to nail this shot without knocking either this camera tripod or this camera tripod. We'll see. It's probably not going to happen. Right, so as you can see, it looks like the jaws of a shark. You've got the top set of jaws there, the teeth, and then you've got the bottom set of jaws at the bottom, and then running through the center is that lovely bit of creek. So what I've decided to do with this shot is I'm focusing on these icicles here. So I'm just rotating my lens, manual focus, f10, super sharp. I've got a 2-second timer on. Let's get it to the, it's telling me that is the correct exposure. So I'm just going to hit the shutter and take that shot. Now, while I've got the focus in that particular part of the image, I might just do an even longer exposure, but let's just see. Let's see what that looks like. No, actually, that's pretty good. I was going to say I'd do another one just to make the background underneath these icicles a little bit brighter, but I think that's fine. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm a bit worried that I might have some crap on my lens. I bet I do. Hang on, I'll come back in 2 seconds. I just don't want to get up, knock this, and go over to my camera bag. A true professional would have a lens block in his pocket, but you're dealing with me, so this is what you're getting. Right, I think I've cleaned it. I'll do that again. I'll just double check my focus, because I might have knocked it when I cleaned the lens. That looks sharp. Now, I always prefer to stick my eye in the EVF, and then I know for sure that it's focused, but I'm sat here in this sketchy position, so I've just got to use my screen. But that looks pretty focused to me, so I'll take that 5-second exposure again, now that I've cleaned my lens, and we'll see how that shot looks. And I'm being really careful not to nudge this tripod with my feet. So let's have a look at that. Oh yeah, that looks great. Now, what I'm going to do now is focus on this foreground here. So I'm just going to nudge this down to about, let's say there. And as you can see, it's blurred, it's garbage. So I'm going to turn my focus wheel till that's sharp. And I'm not 100% sure, so let's get a more contrasty edge. Oh, there you go, that's, oh, that's sharp. Yeah. Right, so now I'll get that shot, but you can see it's a little bit overexposed because they're very, very bright there, and maybe the light changed ever so slightly. So let's just knock that down, and I'm going to deliberately underexpose it a little bit because I just don't want to blow out those highlights in that little bit of snow on the foreground there. So that's my foreground shot. Let's check that. Yeah, that looks great. So I've got my foreground shot with focus on this ridge. I've got my icicle shot with the focus on the icicles. Now I want to get a few different exposures with different shutter speeds for this water. So what I'm going to do, obviously I want a faster shutter speed than 1.6 seconds because that's really slow. So I'm going to open up my aperture to, we'll start off with f4, see how that looks. And as you can see, that's way too bright. So that lets me get down to, let's get it down to 1/4 of a second. That's telling me that it's slightly underexposed. So I'll open it up a little bit more. 2.8 is as wide as I can get. So let's take that shot. Let's see what 1/4 of a second looks like. Have a look. Oh, that's quite good. I kind of like that. See how much different it is to that shot where it's just mush. That's giving me a bit of texture. So I'll take another shot as well. I always like to take a few because the water just constantly changes. I mean, look at the texture in that compared to that. It's completely different. So at 1/4 of a second, I'll take a bunch of shots so that I just get different shapes and different patterns. That's kind of cool. Look at that. They're so different. I'm kind of getting into this. So I'll take a few more. How does that one look? Yeah, not as good as that one, but yeah, pretty cool. So now that I've got that, let's get even faster. Let's get to 1/6 of a second shutter speed. And it's telling me it's underexposed. I'm not too bothered. I could always pump up the ISO. I'm really not too bothered. I'm going to be manipulating it quite a lot in post, so I'm not going to get too anal about it. You can see that looks a bit blown out, but definitely there's a bit more texture in the water than there was with these shots. So let's just take that ISO back down to 50. Couple more of those. Have a look at that. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Lots of texture. I don't like it too silky and mushy, you know. And then just for shits and giggles, we'll try one at 1/8 of a second. So let's go down to 1/8. 1/10. Let's do that. Now I will stick my ISO up just a smidge. Let's see how that one looks. And let's have a butcher's. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. All kinds of stuff going on there. Let's take another one. You can never take too many. Well, you can because your hard drives will fill up and your memory cards will fill up. But we're only talking about a few images. It's not like I'm shooting waves at high speed continuous bursts. Do another one. One more and then I'm done. Let's have a look at that. Absolutely glorious. Fun. I kind of like that shot. It might be one of those days where you don't actually ever get the shot that you came here to get, and you spend all day just shooting other stuff that just kind of totally sidetracks you, but that doesn't matter because as long as I get something that I love and that I'm happy with, it doesn't really matter if I actually get to where I'm supposed to go, but I do want that shot. So I am going to get back on the trail because I've got at least another hour of uphill trudging through the ice and snow. And I don't even know if it's going to be worth shooting. It might be like this spot down here. It might be just a graveyard of trees. So we'll see. I'm just going to still chance it because who knows what I'll see along the way.
Now you might think that forests full of sharp-toothed predators might be dangerous, and you'd be right. But there are more treacherous dangers.
So I was just hiking down here and I just wiped out and slid down here and then pretty much impaled myself on this rebar that's sticking out of the ground here, these sharp steel spikes. Unbelievable. I wish they wouldn't use this stuff on trails to build trails. And I think trails like this are built for free by people who just do it out of the goodness of their own heart. So I appreciate people working on the trails, but look at this. This is just dangerous.
Oh, if that doesn't make your sheriffs go all of a quiver. I don't know what will.
And you can see the camera bag where I fell, it's impaled on a piece of rebar. There, it's actually stuck on, and that's what I landed on. Right up the clay pipe, I'm not kidding. That's got me a bit nervous about the rest of the trail. Why do I do this? I'm gonna have to somehow get this bag off. Look at this, it's nailed on. Oh, there you go. That worked.
And as if that wasn't sketchy enough, the worst was yet to come. I'd actually been dreading crossing the chasm of ultimate doom, which isn't too bad in summer, but today, oh, look at this business.
So this next section requires me to be above this waterfall in this part of the river, probably tatties deep in freezing cold water. And to get to it, I've got to climb along that sketchy, icy log there. Man, I don't like the look of this. It's one thing to do it without a camera bag, but the camera bag just messes up your balance. But I see that somebody's put a rope there, so I might just try the rope. I don't know what it's attached to, but doing this in summer is easy, but doing this right now, it seems ill-advised. I think only an absolute idiot would get in there and do that. In I go then. I'm not going to film this because I just need to focus on what I'm doing, so wish me luck. Well, I made it across that little thing. There you go. And now I've got to go in this stuff here. Let me show you this. So this is what I came here for, I guess. So I'm gonna go, eh? Oh god. Oh, it's gonna be awful.
Right, okay. Oh, that's cold. Oh god. I'm breaking the ice with my knees. Oh god. This is gonna be... I thought it would not be quite as bad, but it's terrible.
This is terrible. I'm actually breaking the ice now. Oh, this is cold. This is terrible. Ooh, that got deep. Shit.
At this point, the average person with even half a brain would have turned around and gone home, but I was just so close. So let's speed this up and get to the good stuff.
I reckon this bit here is about 6 feet deep, so I'm not going in there. So I'm going to try and get over that hump and then keep going up, but time to put this camera away now because it's just going to get destroyed, I think. Okay, see you on the other side, I hope. There are times when I question my own sanity. Why do I do this? This is the sketchiest thing I've done in years. And I'm all by myself. If anything happens, I'm screwed. And I've just climbed over a bunch of logs and now I'm going to climb under these ones. Let me show you how sketchy this is. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to navigate that, but I'm so close. I'm probably 70 feet from the spot where I know there's probably an absolutely magnificent shot waiting for me. So I've come this far. I might have to get into my belly button, but sod it. I've got to do it. Oh god!
Hypothermia stage 1. Shivering, rapid heart rate, and mental confusion.
No! Why do I do this? It's not even that good of a shot. No!
Hypothermia stage 2. Testicular shrinkage, decreased reflexes, and loss of fine motor skills.
Oh! Oh! God! Oh! Now I know how units feel. Oh!
But was it worth it?
Probably see what I love about this spot is just this bowl that the waterfall pours into, and I had a feeling that it would be covered in these spectacular icicles just dripping down. Quite magnificent, but I'm going to have to rush because I'm so cold. I've got the shakes. I don't know how long I'm going to last in these conditions. And it's a 2-hour hike back to the car, and I didn't bring my headlamp, so I'm probably going to be hiking back in the dark using my phone, provided my phone still works after it just got drowned in the river. I'm looking at my Osmo screen now, and I think I've killed it. I think this is the 3rd Osmo that I have killed due to submersion caused by incompetence. So that's going to be an expensive repair job or replacement. It's so much fun. Anyway, I can't feel my fingers, so I'll rush through this tutorial. I'll try and give you a tutorial, but it might be quite abysmal because I just can't function right now, you know. It's fun, you know. I do enjoy myself. Right, okay, let's do this. Alright, I can't feel my fingers, so let's hope I can get through this because it's truly terrible. Right, let me just overexpose this so hopefully you can see my composition. So I have the waterfall coming down over here, and then I've got this lovely little ledge giving me a nice frame in the foreground, and then the sides are framed nicely by these canyon walls, and of course they've got that beautiful ice pouring down over the edges. Now I would have loved to have timed it on a sunny day and get some sun blasting into the canyon, maybe create some light rays, but this is still absolutely spectacular. Now if I just shut this down a little bit, go a bit darker, you'll see in this shot the triangle of pointlessness, and that's this triangle here. It's what you always get when you shoot waterfalls and you're in a canyon or a forest, and there's always this useless, pointless triangle in the top of the frame. Now there's nothing I can do about that. I could compose it tighter to exclude it, but then I would lose all of this beautiful, these icicles on this cliff edge here in the bowl that you can see. So I really don't want to change my composition just because of the triangle of pointlessness. So what I'm going to do is just shoot it anyway as if that wasn't total crap, and then I might just fill it in post. We'll see what I can do with it later. So with this shot I'm using an aperture of f13, still quite sharp. I focused on the background. As you can see, this is my correct exposure, which is saying 2 seconds. But I know that that won't be bright enough for all of these shadow areas that you can see in the background there. So I'm going to increase that to an 8-second exposure, which is going to be way too bright for everything but those shadow areas. And then I'll just mask that in Photoshop afterwards, just to bring back all of that lovely shadow detail. So I've focused on the background, and now what I'll do is I'll just make it a little bit darker, go to with the correct shutter speed. Now focus on this. Oh God, my digits don't work. Oh, honest to God, I can't function.
Hypothermia stage 3, complete incompetence and unintelligible tutorials.
Alright, so now I've got my focus on that little ridge. I'm just going to put it at the correct shutter speed. And then what I'm going to do is deliberately underexpose it because I really don't want this snow to be blown out. Bring back all that definition. Let's get the shot. Oh man, I don't know if this Osmo is shaking now, but I am shaking. I'm so cold. In all honesty, I almost don't care. I can't feel my fingers. I don't even know if I've got feet. They're completely numb. And I just can't function now. I've become incompetent. So this is when stupid things happen and you do dangerous mistakes. So I think I'll just shoot one last frame and call it quits because this is terrible.
So after all of that suffering, and the suffering that was about to come, was this shot worth it? No, it wasn't. Not only was the shot average, but it was a technical disaster. There was so much ice and so many water droplets on the lens that this image is just a blurry mess. But at least I learned one thing. I can sing a better falsetto than Justin Timberlake when I'm taties deep in Nile Creek.
Right, well that's it. I'm done. I've packed my gear up. I'm going to get back in the river, nipple deep again. Oh, God. Oh, God. My life's shit. Please like and subscribe. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I do this.
Hypothermia Stage 4. Questioning one's life choices.